pessoal, estamos começando mais uma live aqui, né, dessa vez iniciando um projeto novo aí, o Break Pedagógico. Vamos falar dos processos de aprendizagem e ensino na sala de aula. Então, estamos com a nossa convidada aqui, Freire Waters, diretamente da França.
Good morning, everyone. We are starting another live here, right? This time starting the new project, Pedagogical Break. We will talk about the teaching-learning processes in the classroom, and we are with our guest here in Friend Rocks, directly from France.
Okay, so...
Primeiramente, agradecendo a presença dela, essa oportunidade de estarmos juntos, dialogando sobre... O tema de hoje é o breaking na sala de aula. Na França, o ensino de dança é inserido em um contexto forte ligação com a tradição do balé e mais recentemente com a dança moderna e contemporânea. E com a estreia do break nas Olimpíadas, o ensino de dança é inserido em um contexto rico e cultural, com forte ligação com a tradição do balé e mais recentemente com a dança moderna e contemporânea e com a estreia dos jogos de break. A França é curiosa por ter berço do balé clássico e por ter contribuído para a evolução de outras formas de dança.
Strengthen the connection with the tradition of ballet and more recently with contemporary modern dance and the debut of the Breakdance Games in Paris, right?
Break dentro do contexto formal e não formal de educação, buscando um olhar crítico sobre as práticas pedagógicas do break no território brasileiro e francês a partir da dança break.
In this sense, our dialogue proposes to reflect on the teaching of breakdance within the formal and non-formal context of education. Seeking a critical look at the pedagogical practices of break in Brazilian and French territory based on break dance.
Vou falar um pouco do contexto do break aqui no Brasil. Aqui no Brasil temos o contexto privado e público, espaços não formais e formais.
I will talk a little about the context of break here in Brazil. In Brazil, we have the private and public context, informal and formal spaces.
O break passa por formas de educações como a educação básica ao nível superior. Hoje, sendo inserido como esporte olímpico ou esporte, na cultura, no âmbito do entretenimento e da arte. No terceiro setor, em ONGs e entidades, por exemplo, como aldeias infantis, que trabalham com crianças refugiadas em situações de violência.
This is the context of formal education here in informal Brazil. We have the Departments of Culture and Sports, with break today being included as an Olympic sport or sport and culture within the scope of entertainment and art in the third.
Como dito, temos o terceiro setor como ONGs e entidades que também estão ligadas ao serviço social, onde educadores, professores de break trabalham.
As mentioned, we have the third sector, such as NGOs and entities that are also linked to social services or educators and breakdancing teachers, for example, the Children's Villages, which is an entity that works with refugees and children in situations of violence.
Okay.
Estamos também inseridos em contexto privado de academias e clubes.
We are also part of the private context of gyms and clubs.
Todo esse contexto aqui no Brasil, que é diverso, nós temos que pensar, né, a formação desse educador, a formação desse professor inicial e continuada, e alguns tópicos sobre a prática pedagógica na atualidade.
This whole context here in Brazil, which is diverse, allows us to think about the training of this educator, the training of this initial and continuing teacher, and some topics about current pedagogical practice.
Para essa reflexão, organizamos os seguintes tópicos ou questões. Fale sobre o contexto de ensino e aprendizagem do break na França. 1. Como é organizado os conteúdos de aprendizagem do break? 3. Quais são os materiais didáticos da prática pedagógica do break? 4. Quais são as principais metodologias de ensino? 5. Fale sobre a formação de professores de break para atuar diante do contexto diverso em sala de aula, que exige conhecimento para combater o racismo, o machismo e favorecer a inclusão.
For this reflection, we organized the following topics or questions. Talk about the teaching learning context of break in France 1-2. What are the contents of break learning and how are they organized? 3. What are the teaching materials of the pedagogical practice of Break 4? What are the main methodologies of Bell 5? Talk about the classroom that requires knowledge to combat racism, machismo, and favor inclusion.
Estamos convidando você, Playderrockers, para contribuir com sua reflexão e experiência profissional no segmento pedagógico.
And to expand this reflection, we are inviting you, Clever Rocks, to contribute with your reflection and professional experience in this pedagogical segment.
Okay, so I just introduced myself. So I am a French Bgirl. I've been breaking for maybe 20 years, and I am donc French. I live in Toulouse, south of France. And what I can say about breaking in France is that you can, for example, create a structure like association in France. Then you can teach and give lessons with this association. And normally you need some degrees. For example, you need the degrees in the field of sport, animation, or educational part. And so that you can teach everyone from kids to adults. Is it not always respected, but that's the case. What I can say is in France, you have different. You have school, you have little school, you have bigger school. Prices are also very different from if you want to just take one lesson a week. Is very different than you can do a global training from 3 years, for example, and the school can be expensive too. So it depends the way that you want to learn dance. Is it a way of just for fun? Is it a way of to do, for example, competitions, battles, or you want to become a teacher? So it's different. Context of breaking in France. So you have a lot of school. You have a lot of different school, from the little association to the biggest school. It depends the way of you want to learn. If it's just for fun, if you want to do battles or competitions, or if you want to access to the title of teacher, and so it can take more time. Normally, you need the degree of the sports, animation, of educational field to teach, but no, no, everybody respect this rule, and that is so. So you have since maybe 10 years, you have an explosion, a really big increase of the number of schools in France. Like us, for example, in my crew, we create an association, and so the name is Lab Learn and Break, and so we have almost 60 students in this school from the childhood. Maybe for the second question, you want to ask what are the contents of learning breaking. When, for example, I give workshops, and on the beginning of our classroom, we teach the history of breaking, the context, when it was created, where in New York, in the Bronx, at the end of the 70s, the beginning of the 80s, and the economical and social context, which was very, very tough in this time in New York. So we was created. We talk also about the main actor of this culture and the 5 disciplines. The 5 disciplines: breakdance, but also rapping, beatboxing, DJing. The 5 disciplines. So this is the first tool to teach the knowledge, the origins of breaking. And after, the purpose is to learn the basics. So the basis, the foundation in top rocks, in footwork, in power move and phrases. So we really have to make the students understand all those steps and do it. So this is the beginning of the practice. And after, when they gain those basics, those foundations, so they can create their own moves, their own routines, their own style. And even if you are a little, big, tall, thin, whatever, you can create your own style. You can yes, trust yourself on the styles that you want to develop. So first discipline, second the foundation, third create and make your own style. So you talk about the material that we have for breaking. We not really use proper material. It depends. It depends the goal. I saw that you use some marking on the ground to learn step. Sometimes I use material. For example, I put material on the space and I ask the student to move and to reach each, for example, a bottle, a shoes, and the student have to reach each object in order to move and occupy the space. But we also have, for example, different techniques. So, for example, we can have a constraint like dancing with one hand on his pocket, for example, or on only one leg. Another example. And also we had pedagogy for the cipher, because enter in a battle and in a cipher can be the same, but this is not really the same, because when you enter the cipher, for example, in the time, you have to take your place, whereas when you enter in a battle, this is more there is rules, to enter on stage. So we have a pedagogy also to enter in a cipher and to be very at ease with this idea of taking the place in a cipher. Is it clear, or would you want me to repeat something? Oh, okay. I wish I could speak Portuguese. So I understand that the context is different in Brazil than in France. Maybe in Brazil you have more. In France there's ghetto too, but I think in Brazil there is much more violence, and maybe breaking can be a tool to decrease violence. In France too, but it depends. What can I say of my proper experience is that B-girls are less represented than B-boys. So B-girls are less represented than B-boys, and so we can develop some workshops to empower B-girls. For example, I propose some workshop to work on the specificity of the woman. For example, work on different phases of the cycle, hormonal cycle. So when is the best time to train? When you can push yourself? It depends of your cycle, because a woman is not the same than a man. Even, for example, the hips are more developed in women. The pelvis is more developed, so the abilities, the capacity are not the same. So the purpose is to work on the inner body, on the deep muscle, to very empower some moves, to lift the body and be able to do the same move than guy. It's a preparation physical, which is which can be different. So I dedicated some workshop for that. The nutrition also is very important. So the way you eat, be careful to sugar, for example, the way you sleep, the way you drink, everything can be taken in account for yes, for the performance. And after your question was racism, to combat racism. For me, hip hop is really in the culture. So the culture is like that. In the culture, you don't have to speak about your origins in the way of religion or everything, because the hip hop culture is very including, from the very inside. In essence, this is including for me. So if a person wants to talk about his own religion, there's no things to do with hip hop culture. So for me, by essence, this culture is fighting against all that, all of racism, all of difference. By essence, hip hop is like that. We don't care about your religion. We don't care about all of that. So we just care about what you are doing in dancing, and that it, or in rapping, or in beatboxing, or in DJing, uh, and that it.
Ok. Obrigado. Aqui no Brasil parece que somos bem diferentes, né, e diversos, assim, no sentido de existe uma separação entre os conteúdos críticos e apenas um ensino só técnico.
Ah, thank you. Here in Brazil, it seems that we are very different, right, and diverse in the sense that there is a separation between critical content and just technical teaching.
Quando você diz que a luta contra o racismo, né, já é algo intrínseco dentro da cultura, não existe essa separação, né, entre técnica e conhecimento crítico.
When you say that the fight against racism, right, is already something intrinsic, separation, right, between technique and critical knowledge.
Aqui no Brasil, nós, como dito, estamos em contextos diversos, né? Inclusive com crianças de extrema vulnerabilidade social, e o hip hop e o break demonstram ser habilidades e conhecimentos necessários para a superação de problemas que essas crianças irão enfrentar no futuro.
Here in Brazil, as mentioned, we work in different contexts, right? Including with children who are extremely socially vulnerable. And hip-hop and breakdancing demonstrate that they are necessary skills and knowledge to overcome problems that these children will face in the future.
Colega Roque, agradeço a sua contribuição, foi muito importante, alimentou muito o nosso conhecimento aqui, essa troca, esse diálogo foi importante, é importante termos sobre pedagogia break, e agradeço muito.
Clever Rock, I really appreciate your contribution of your reflections.
Thank you.
Contribuiu muito para alguns pensamentos nossos aqui no Brasil.
Contributed a lot to expanding some of our thoughts here in Brazil.
Esperamos uma outra oportunidade, quem sabe no mês que vem, fazermos uma nova live falando sobre as atualidades do break na França. Obrigado, bye.
Obrigada.
We hope to have another opportunity, maybe next month, when we will do a new live talking about the current events of break in France. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Peace.